Hey guys, I'm Natasha Tessier, owner of Dwell Realty and Design here in Houston by EXP. And I have Brenda with me today. And today we are going to talk about how to buy a house in this crazy housing interest market with these rates going crazy right now. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Natasha Tessier. I have Brenda on here with Mutual of Omaha. And we do a lot together only because I know she's going to take great care of my clients. One thing I love the most about her is that, for example, this week we were dealing with a new construction and I sent my client to her and she will tell them flat out, we can't beat that. That's a great deal. Go ahead and do it. Or, hey, you're not looking at these fees. So I just like her honesty with my clients and trying to put them in the best place. So Brenda, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about you.
I'm a senior loan officer with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. I've been in the industry now for 20 years. And it's honestly just our goal to make sure that you understand your loan program, what your fees are, and how they impact you during the process of your mortgage, especially in this market right now.
Yeah. And you forgive me. I did go to a closing today, but I put my normal ball
It's a great hat.
My husband's always laughs at me because I'm always running around in my t-shirt and whatever, but that's okay. Okay. So today I just thought I'd ask her some questions because there's still, yes, the market slowed. Yes, prices are way down, which is great for my buyers. There's still people who need to buy, whether their lease is ending and their, rental amount is going up by 20%, or they have a job transfer to the Houston area, or, grandma's going, to an assisted living and we need to get her house sold, or, there's tons of reasons people are still buying and selling. It's not a completely dead market. I still have maybe 4 or 5 closings this month. We just closed one today for a family moving from California. But I just thought for sure to start with, where are the rates at? I know we have no idea where they're going. Obviously, eventually they're going to come down, but we have no idea when. And what can you guys do to help offset some of the costs because they're so high with inflation and everything?
Absolutely. So, rates have gone up. We've seen the biggest increase since January. There is hope they will go back down. I think that's what we really need to focus on, is that you're not stuck with that forever. We keep hearing this little meme that's out there that you want to marry the house and date the interest rate.
Right.
I think that's very true right now, is that, if you were looking to lock a loan today, you probably would be around 7%, 7.5%. And how we're trying to help is with incentives towards closing costs, whether we're helping you with the cost of the interest rate or just applying it towards your closing costs completely. It's really, truly your choice. And we really don't know what your best option is going to be until you're under contract. And if Natasha's been able to negotiate a seller paying for the title policy or giving some money towards, or a certain percentage towards your closing costs, and how do you want to utilize that?
Yeah. So just with that, typically the seller here pays the title policy and the seller is in charge of the real estate commissions, our fees. So you don't owe any of that as a buyer. It changed. So you have to think about all those people who bought, a year ago when the market was crazy and they were paying $100,000 over value and covering the difference and, covering the title policy and all these extra fees that now it's back and more advantageous to the buyer. In addition, I have a seller right now and she's motivated to help buy down rates, give them money to buy down rates, give them money to help cover closing costs. All that stuff that went away in the crazy competitive market has now leveled out and has made it easier for the buyers. So you really, in my opinion, have to kind of outweigh, if you have a 4.5% interest rate, but you paid 100 over and you covered, a $6,000 title policy and, all these extras, does it really equate? And in addition to that, chances are if you're in a house 5 to 10 years, you're going to refinance at some point anyway.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know the statistics on that, but most people do. And so, if a year from now we're looking at 4.5, you only paid that for a year. So and you bought a house for a lot less. I mean,
That's exactly right.
yeah,
Mhm.
the sellers are so motivated right now if they're selling right now, they have to sell because they're not just selling. Like in the spring, it was like, oh, I'll test the market and I'll put it, 50,000 above, and somebody else paid them 50 on top of that. Great. But right now they're selling because they need to sell, not just for fun.
That's
So they're
exactly right.
motivated to sell the house and help you. So I just want to get at, there are a lot of ways, whether it's Mutual of Omaha or another lender helping you buy down rates, the seller helping you buy down rates, not covering title, not overpaying for the house, actually kind of underpaying. I mean, all those things will help you in the long run. So what are some other questions I was going to ask? You have to look at my notes.
Well, you brought up buying down the rates. I think what we really have to look at when you're looking at interest rates right now, and if you're thinking about buying it down, what is the cost of that? So if you're looking at an interest rate that isn't going to cost you any money, and then you say, okay, I want to buy it down a half a point. If that half a point is just saving you maybe $50 a month, is it really advantageous to you to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or even more to bring the rate down to that, say 7% versus 7.5%? Okay.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you're going to refinance your home here in the next 8 to 12, 15 months, you've literally just lost that money.
Yeah. Tell them about, obviously no names, but like the client we have this week who's looking at new construction. I actually have 2 clients looking at new construction. One, I will tell you a story. The house is listed at 388. It was 425 when the market was hot. It's down to 388. I told him the highest we would go was 360. The builder came back to me and said, oh, I'm sorry, 366. And I think this is something my clients appreciate about me is, and Brenda and Nancy and Megan all know this. I like to fight not fight, but I like to fight for my clients. I like to be their advocate and give them the absolute best deal I can give them. So I said, okay, well, we're going to go somewhere else because the bottom line is they're desperate right now and they need my buyer. And so I let it sit for about 5 days. And then my buyer came back to me and said, hey, there's another new neighborhood in the same school zone, and I said, oh, let's go over to, this Fairwater and check it out. It's the same tax rate and all that stuff. And so we did. And I mean, I actually emailed or texted the guy and I said, hey, they're thinking about, switching and going to this other neighborhood immediately. Oh, we'll give you the 360. We'll give you a stainless steel refrigerator. We'll give you a washer dryer. We'll give you blinds. So it's a good time and even more so on pre-owned, because they have no way to get out from under the house. They don't have the deep pockets of the builders that can say, oh, well, we'll just drop the pre-owned are really pushing to sell their house. So there's lots of ways to combat that too. Oh, and tell them the second thing I was going to say is the second client that we went and did the whole quote for with their lender and then brought it to you. Tell them kind of about the hidden cost and all that, were so surprising to her.
Well, so the builders are always offering big incentives.
Right.
I think in her case, it was a $10,000 seller credit towards closing costs, but they were charging her $10,000 for the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So end of day, she still had all the same closing costs.
Right.
They were just washing out a big cost for the rate when, quite honestly, just to go with the average rate today where there wasn't a cost to her, I think the savings and the payment was less than maybe $60.
And they were also pushing FHA, which she had great credit.
She did.
And I couldn't understand that. Explain why they would be doing that. And obviously we don't know, but you were saying it's cheaper for them to buy down the rate.
So a lot of times it just depends on who they work for and how they run their loans. If they're a broker, if they're a mortgage bank, there's a difference there. The loan officer could be getting paid more.
Okay.
But
if you can afford conventional like her.
Right. It's a benefit.
Yeah, because you have lower private mortgage insurance and all that.
Mm-hmm. So the difference for her is that her scores were in the very high 700s, almost 8. And going FHA, the mortgage insurance was costing her $187 a month. Okay. If she was going conventional, that cost went to $67 a month.
Wow.
Because mortgage insurance on
$20 a month.
conventional loans is based on your credit scores, based on risk. So
Yeah.
based on your credit score and based on how much you're putting down. So that already was giving her a savings in her monthly payment. The other difference between FHA and conventional is that FHA, the mortgage insurance is on there for the life of the loan. You
Right.
have to refinance in order to get rid of that mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Whereas on conventional, once you have that 20% equity in the home, then the mortgage insurance will fall off.
Yeah.
The other thing with FHA is that all FHA loans have a 1.75% of the sales price attached up front. So it gets added on to your loan amount. It's upfront mortgage insurance, and that has to be paid. That is an FHA rule. So
So it's
in the
not
day,
beneficial unless you have to.
I'm sorry.
It's not beneficial to go FHA unless you have to.
Right. Well, there's a lot of benefits to FHA for clients that, you know, have maybe their credit scores are right at 700 or lower. And
Or
that's
they don't have a lot of a down payment. Helps.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
3.5% down. So for her, she was looking at 5% down.
Yeah.
But
And
in
that's
the
something
day-
else. A lot of people think for conventional, you have to do 20, you do not.
No, you do
So-
not. Actually, you can do 3%.
Yeah.
There are first-time homebuyer programs out there for clients who want to go in at 3% down. But where that's going to impact you is going to be number one in your interest rate, because it's a very low down payment, and also in your monthly mortgage insurance. So end of day on those types of programs, the higher your credit scores are, it's always a better benefit to you.
Okay, cool.
I think what borrowers really need to know right now is just what their options are.
Yes, for
So
sure.
with this particular client, I met with her in the office, and we went through an entire fee sheet and payment estimate of what FHA looked like, why it was different for her versus conventional, and how conventional benefited her.
Yeah.
So, and she had done some homework up front. She already was aware that I have really good credit. I should
Yeah.
be looking at a conventional loan.
And that's something else that I love. I was texting another client moving in from out of state yesterday, and they have their house under contract and they went through inspections. And I was like, hey, you know, you should reach out to Brenda and just check in and start getting moving in that direction. And this was, I think, the weekend. Yes, it was Saturday morning. I was texting her and she said, oh, okay, I'll wait till Monday. One thing I also love about Brenda, instead of going with like a big box Rocket Mortgage or whatever, you can call her, text her anytime, day or night, kind of like me. If you need me, I'm going to answer. And I always tell my clients, if I don't reply to you within a few hours, I probably missed it. Like right now, I'm doing the Zoom call. If texts are coming through, obviously I'm not checking them. Sometimes my computer will show that it's red and I will miss it. But both of us are extremely responsive and always available. And I think that's really important when you do have a question about, you know, paperwork, what you're signing, what rates you're getting. So to me, like my mom always taught me, honesty is number one. And like I said from the beginning, you have to know your options right now, and you have to have somebody who is going to lay it all out there honestly for you. And I mean, there have been a few times when Brenda has had to say to somebody, you know, that's amazing. Like if they're really giving you that. And it's important to get a fee sheet too, because this client we're referring to, they kept saying, oh, we're going to give you this and we're going to give you that. And then when we saw the fee sheet, we saw the $10,000 charge. So it's important to get that fee sheet and compare to what she's able to do. So, and they'll fight for my clients.
It's always good to be able to look at things side by side, just compare apples to apples. And it really doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives you
Especially when you see
confidence
it every day, like you're like, oh, that fee's for this. That, I mean, it's,
Right,
you know, it's like
right.
me looking,
at
you
a
know,
contract.
yeah, a contract or a seller's disclosure. I mean, I can see,
Sure.
okay, that flooded. Oh, that's in a flood zone. Oh, that's, you know, got a new roof or whatever.
Mhm.
So anyway,
I think right now, just in this market, and honestly, right now, because we are slow, there's so much more we can do a lot faster on getting
Yes.
people completely.
yeah, we just
approved.
closed the guy today in 21 days.
Yeah, exactly. And-
Conventional loan. I mean, the appraisal got waived. I mean, because the price was so low on the house, he was
yes,
getting such a good deal. They didn't even have to appraise it. Whereas 6 months ago, my buyers were having to waive appraisals and cover a $30,000 gap. So it's
Sure.
really, it's a lot of give and take, in my opinion. So
it's not a bad time to buy a house.
No, it's not.
I
It
think
sounds
if you-
crazy, but it's not.
Exactly. You know, I think if you can just get past the thought that, well, the rates are where they are right now.
Yeah.
At end of day, it's been a benefit to do this because it is absolutely leveled out the playing field,
For sure.
which is really what we needed to do. You know, so what we're offering for all borrowers right now is that once they fill out a loan application, we're going to treat it like you're under contract.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and disclose to you how your loan looks right now. Numbers can change, that's not a problem. But my processor, his name is Mike, my assistant is Sue, and our underwriter is Tanya. Our team is just going to go ahead and submit your loan all the way through the process. So you have a
No
full
surprises.
written approval.
Yeah.
End of day, once you go under contract, all we need to do is add the address to it and adjust numbers if that's the case.
Awesome.
But closings can happen a lot faster, and we can literally have this done for you within 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So. you know,
Well, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, and if you guys ever need to reach out to Brenda, just text me, message me, whatever, email me, and I will get you her contact. And I thank you for joining us. If you have other topics or things that'll help you, please comment below. We'd love to help you, or I'd love to help you in any way. And I hope you have a blessed day.